Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tom Worth Jr. Today I want to talk about a few things: Garry Kasparov, Bluesky, transgender, and actually why maybe we shouldn't be talking about transgender as an election issue. Maybe. It's tricky, it's dicey, and it ties into Garry Kasparov and the Democratic Party getting slammed and things like this. I saw a quote on the Medium. I don't know if any of you guys are on Medium or not, but they have a blog that I get an email about. And the quote was about, it was relating to RFK Jr. and how he is not really a vaccine skeptic, a self-proclaimed vaccine skeptic, because skeptic comes from the Greek skepsis, which is to inquire, someone who questions, who doesn't blindly accept overused language as fact. But if you are simply someone who refuses to learn or to know what can be known, that's not being a skeptic, that's being an ignoramus. I thought that was kind of funny. And then also, if you are a person who raises questions but does not seek their answers, you're not a skeptic, you're a bullshitter. That sounds like RFK Jr. to a T. To me, I did get out on Bluesky today, and I saw that I already have a few followers. So, and I recognized some of the names from the channel, so just a few. So that was pretty cool. I looked around and I got to reading about this because I was wondering how it would know. Like, if you ever sign up for Facebook, which I haven't used in years, you get on Instagram, which I do get on sometimes, but that's probably my most active social media. I'm not posting things on it, but if I have time, maybe a few times a week, I'll go out there and it'll have who you follow maybe at the top of your feed. You might see some pictures from them or some posts from them, and then just a whole bunch of stuff that it thinks you're going to be interested in. And if it is, if there are things from people you follow, you might not see all of those things. You just might not. YouTube, you can go, I always look at I don't go to the homepage on YouTube, I go to the subscriptions feed, because that's people I subscribe to. And it's pretty much, it looks like it's in chronological or reverse chronological order, so the most recent's at the top. That's not what Instagram does. Instagram, which is Facebook, tries to prod and nudge you into something. That's what their algorithm does. And it's always geared towards making you be interested and buy things. That's all Facebook, that's all Google. That is not what Bluesky does. Bluesky, I was reading about their algorithm, and their algorithm it's not really an algorithm like Facebook or like Google is, where it's trying to figure out everything it can about you, everything you've ever looked at or talked about or bought or read. It asks you interests, what your interests are, just some broad categories when you first get on it. And then it asks you if there's anyone you want to look for or follow, and that's it. And I selected a few interests, politics, photography, whatever, just 3 or 4 things. And then I was just confronted with this feed of, I just thought it was like, wow, they don't even know me. and I thought that was pretty awesome. And I was reading more about it, and that is by design. They're not trying to even know me. They're trying to let me be in control of the experience. And so what they will show me are people that I follow, their posts in reverse chronological order, and things that I said I was interested in, not things that I just kind of went over here and clicked on this one thing about whatever, and now I'm just going to see nothing but stuff about that. That's how a lot of the other social media is. So it was pretty refreshing with the Bluesky. I did look up my man Gary, and of course, he is on it. 20-something thousand followers, not what he had on Twitter, I'm sure, but hopefully he's abandoned Twitter, and he's reposting articles. He's talking about things, quotes from people or people he's had conversations with, and this still has character limits of a few hundred characters, like Twitter did. And it might feel like, as we're getting close to 2025, why do we have these character limitations? And for me, that is a good thing, because if you talk to any creative person, having constraints is really key to the creative endeavor. You can't just sit down and have every tool in the world and no topic or know anything and just say, make something. That's really hard. So when you have limits or constraints like 300 characters, it forces you to be better. It forces you to try harder and make them kind of more hard hitting. Like when I come in on these videos, I might go 10 minutes, I might go 20 minutes or 15. It's however long it takes to cover what I want to cover. But if you told me I had 3 minutes to get this out, then I'm going to sit there, I'm going to write things down, I'm going to cross through words, I'm going to make it as tight as I can. And that's to the benefit of whoever's consuming it. And so when I go on something like Bluesky, it's awesome. I know that it's just going to be a bunch of quick hits. And if you want a long form article, you can post links to that just like you could in Twitter. And it seems pretty perfect to me for now. Gary had a few links to some articles he had read. He had a link to an opinion piece of his own in the Wall Street Journal. It might have been from this morning's Journal. And he's kind of taking the Democrats to task for not fielding a better candidate. And he reminded us of something he said last year, which is last year he said Biden should step aside and let the process play out, get the strongest candidate possible through the primary process. And I think that too. We knew that he wasn't the best version of himself. Certainly last year we already knew this. And the only thing he had going for him was that he wasn't Donald Trump. And then a year later, this summer, it was painfully apparent that that was the case. So if he would have been honest with himself and with all of us and stepped aside last summer, I don't think Kamala Harris would have been the nominee. I love her. I think she's great. I don't think she was the strongest nominee, but given the compressed timeline and she was really the only nominee, and in this case, it had to be her, I just don't think she was the best nominee. And it's not anything against her as a person. It's just that I don't think she had time to become the best nominee. I think she could have crafted a better message. Whether she would have or not, I don't know. But she would have at least had the opportunity, been afforded that opportunity with more notice. And she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to be in a competition going through primaries to see what's landing and what isn't landing with potential voters. She was just thrust into it. And I think she did as well as anyone could have done. But that was a problem. But he gets into more than that. He gets into the problem with the Democrats' messaging. And that's where I also agree with it. I really agree with this guy on a lot of things. We can be smart or think we're smart or talk like we're smart. And the other side can dumb it down if they want. But I don't think that is why one side is more appealing or less appealing across the board. Look at any Dan Brown novel or really any bestseller. It's going to be written at like a 5th or 6th grade reading comprehension level when you run it through software that measures that. If you're writing something at an 11th or 12th or 13th grade level, it's not going to have a mass appeal. It's kind of harder to get through that stuff. And people don't want to work hard. They want to consume things effortlessly. And if you're using big words, you lose the interest of some people. But I don't think it's just that. I think it's because people can understand big words, even people who aren't as educated. They can understand what we're saying just fine. They're just not interested. And so I read that the Republicans, I joked around about Ted Cruz, like apparently the entire world is ending in Texas with this transgender assault on all of us. It's over $200 million was spent in the home stretch for Republican campaigns of this election. Not just Ted Cruz, but across the board. Just in the home stretch, over almost $250 million was focused on attack ads against trans people. And we saw Mike Johnson this week, or maybe last week. He's in charge of all the bathroom policies with the House of Representatives. We had the first elected openly transgender person out of Delaware in this election, and they're already, that's their top priority. With everything facing the nation, this is what they think is the gravest threat, is getting the bathroom situation squared away. It's not an issue for the woman affected, but as far as she's not making it an issue. She's saying, hey, I ran to get things done and help fix the problem, not be a part of the problem, and I'm going to abide by their rules, and it's up to him to say what we can and can't do at the bathroom, so I'm going to do whatever I'm supposed to do. And I saw that in 2016, Trump, when he was running, actually said, because this was becoming a bigger deal then, he actually said people should just use whichever restroom they're more comfortable with, which is actually common sense. But the Republican backlash was so swift and so severe, he had to walk that back. And he doesn't walk things back and get on board the anti-transgender train. And he did. But just common sense tells you that this is ridiculous, and Republicans focus way too much on that. But what Republicans, I guess, have figured out is that it matters to something like over half of voters. This is an issue for over half of voters. Now, I say it's an issue because Fox News makes it an issue, but it doesn't matter. Not over half of America watches Fox News. So it's something that people are concerned about. And if you are a Democrat or a Democratic Party and you have a platform and you're trying to decide what to include on that, what to emphasize, what to leave out, and you have a losing issue, but it's kind of a human rights issue. You could throw immigration in there as well. You want to be a good, upstanding human being, but like in the case with foreigners, for instance, and this is not just in America, this is around the world. People are afraid of foreigners. They're just scared. And you want to be welcoming if you're a good person. On the other hand, most people in most countries, they just fear foreigners. And they always have, going back to human history, going back to tribal relations. You're just afraid of the people who aren't in your tribe. And this is the real problem that Democrats have, is that Republicans do not shy away from these things. They know that people don't understand transgender issues, and we fear what we don't understand, and so they attack it. They know people fear people who aren't like them. They don't look like them. They don't speak the same language as them. Don't share whatever with us, and so they just hammer on that, and they make you fear it even more. And the Republicans have always been masters of this. And the Democrats, they want to be better than that. they say that. They say we're better than this. We're not going back. But the problem is, and this is the problem that we don't have a solution for right now, is that as hard as it is to say, many Americans are not better than that. They're just human beings who have those same irrational fears, and they can't be bigger than that. It can't be better than that. And as long as the Republicans keep seizing on that and building it up, the Democrats, I think the answer has to be to just not, like Kamala Harris didn't run on her immigration record or Biden's immigration record. She was smart enough to know that that was a losing issue for her. The problem with Democrats is I think a lot of issues for them are losing issues. Like people paying their fair share of taxes, or companies paying their fair share of taxes, or billionaires doing that. That's the right thing to do, but it's not popular with Americans. So it's a losing issue, even though it's the right thing to do. And if you look at the Democratic platform, man, I don't know. It's just filled with stuff like that. Things that unequivocally are the right thing to do, but they're not. They're losing positions with the American people. And I don't know what to do about this. I don't know. This is very vexing for a Friday night. But maybe someone out there has some ideas. Gary Kasparov, I don't think he had any ideas. He was just kind of stating the problem, and I don't think it was the most intelligent statement of the problem. I think he was probably dumbing down his thoughts for the Wall Street Journal readership. Kind of came across as too folksy, too common man-y to me, but he realized, he was not supporting Trump. He never would. But I think his natural tendency would probably be Republican. He wants smaller government. He wants more, less wokeism, as they say, less diversity, equity, and inclusion. He actually did say that. He wrote that. Not to just not have the focus be as much on that as it has been, and not kind of gear our society around that kind of thing. And I'm not saying he's right, but I think he does kind of have a good read on what's popular with the voting populace, and I think a lot of us do, but we don't really have an answer. I don't have an answer, and he certainly didn't have an answer other than to say, here's the problem. So this kind of goes back to like, are we all just bullshitters then? If we are not coming up with solutions, we're just talking about the problem. I don't think we are. We're trying to suss out some sort of solution to this, and we're trying to talk about it in a constructive way. We are searching for the solution, but we don't have it yet. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe someone out there does. Maybe we just haven't heard about it yet. But give Bluesky a shot if you haven't. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's not just forcing things down your throat, the algorithm, and suddenly, like, you're getting on there to look up a guy you used to follow to see what his thoughts are these days, and next thing you know, you're looking at a pair of sneakers you told your friend about yesterday. This is not happening on Bluesky, and supposedly never will. So let's hope for that. And anyway, that's it for now. Hope you all have a good Friday night or Saturday morning, whenever you look at this. And we'll talk tomorrow.